Welcome to Architecture Boston Expo 2012. We're here this afternoon at Universal Design, Experience the Difference, an installation installed by the Boston Society of Architects Design for Aging Committee, Boston Society of Architects Access Committee, and in collaboration with several access advocacy groups across Massachusetts. This installation brings two ramps, two office kitchenettes, a vision corridor together. One of them is fully accessible with universally designed appliances and walkways. One is apparently accessible. And we're here today to take two people through the ropes to find out what the differences are. June Lee, BSA staff, is here today to be guided through the tour by Julie Garland, who is volunteering here this afternoon as part of the advocacy effort.
And it's the first challenge. It's a heavy door with a threshold. So, and once you get it open, I will hold it for you. But you can see what a challenge it is. And then you're going to come into this vestibule. And if not, I can certainly help you. But this is something that people run into all the time, these thresholds.
Whoa!
Nice.
Nice job. Now, Julie, this is a guided tour because we're actually concerned that people might hurt themselves going through the paces,
they could
right?
get stuck.
Absolutely. I'm definitely stuck in here.
Now, this is the thing. We've had two people manage to open this door without having to exit partially through this door because there is not enough turning space. So you might have to partially move into this threshold in order to open the door.
In here?
Into the right where you came from.
Oh.
Only two people have been successful in navigating it without doing that.
Just don't know what's the positions to be.
It's very challenging.
You can't open wide at all.
Wow. So frustrating.
And the thing is, imagine if you're alone.
I am alone now. But then if I'm here,
Can you reach the door?
I can't reach the door.
So what I would do is I would angle it that corner, probably, reach the door, and then wheel back into the threshold. And I can certainly try and help you.
Ah.
Get it?
This is really difficult. I'm going to hurt myself.
You're doing a great job, June.
It is a challenge. And
Hooray!
now lean back.
They need a ram for this.
Because the upper body
This
workout.
is really hard. Now I can imagine a life of a disabled person. This is really hard.
So now you just have some different textures, what it's
But
like.
even rolling on the cabin.
Yes.
Yes,
It's not an ideal surface.
exactly.
And what you're going to do is take a quick right and go up it. And this ramp is also carpeted, and it's at 1 to 10.
Pull that off.
I wanted to use my feet.
I can push you if you want. It is really hard. No space. So how do you get you have to roll back while you're
June, how did it feel to take that ride?
I want to cry. It's very difficult without using my feet.
Yeah.
Even though if you reach to the point, you reach the lock, how can you go back? There's no space for you to move around at all.
And fortunately, in their example at least, there was not that much of a slope at the door. Because imagine if you got up there and there was more of a slope, you're trying to open that door and you're rolling backwards.
Yeah.
You know.
Potentially very dangerous.
Very dangerous, and I'm very tired now.
Well, this ramp is correct. It's a 1 to 12, so it's still kind of steep, but it is correct.
Let's go.
Is it the same? Is it the same length?
I believe it is the same length. It'll probably feel much shorter.
Feels a lot more spacious in here.
Yeah. And one of the nice things you see right away is that there is side room pull for the door.
Yes,
Sir, you said
this is a lot easier than the other one. Yeah. And for these, yeah.
You've also put, I know, earlier today, who was tired after the other ramp.
I'm going to reel this.
With these, 'cause,
Yeah.
you know, and I know they're for mobility, people that have mobility issues, but, you know,
still useful.
All right, let's go.
and then you're going to take a quick right into this hallway. You'll see some protruding objects on either sides that can be issues if you had a vision issue. For instance, your walking cane would read as though this was clear, when in fact you could walk into that box.
This is one of the bigger, right? Yes, I like that. I really like that. I don't have 3 hands to hold a door, the wheelchair.
This door flip is much easier.
Voila.
Am I supposed to close that and open it?
I can close it for you if you want. And the main difference with this door and the door they opened up there is that the door up there had a closer on it, so it was required to have 24, I believe, inches on the side for side pull. This does not have a closer, so it's only 18.
On the level? Is it lower?
Interesting. You might think
Is it lower? Because I can
you'll
reach
notice that
to,
they're all
yeah.
lever handles, so there's no tight grasping required.
Yeah. Okay, so I can open this, turn myself.
This is Ben Cohen, BSA staff member, who is going to go through the ramps wearing vision impairing goggles. He will be guided by Julie Boren from the Mass Commission for the Blind.
Okay, so I just want you to keep this on the floor the whole time, going back and forth about the width of your body, just to help keep you safe. It'll make you feel a little more comfortable where you can't see. I'll put my hand on your shoulder to stop you, and I'll be giving you verbal directions to keep you safe, okay?
Okay.
Now, Ben, how much can you actually see right now?
What I see, I don't see very little on my right-hand side, and the left-hand side is extremely blurry.
He's got a simulation for 20 over 400 vision, which 20 over 200 is considered legally blind. It's just visual acuity, really poor detail vision. Okay, so an example here, I want you to see that. Can you see the black railing against the white wall?
Yes.
So we call that contrast. It's not part of ADA code, but black on white, white on black, bright yellow on black, those are some of the highest levels of contrast you can get. But light on dark, dark on light, for individuals with legal blindness that have usable vision, that's going to stand out a lot more, helping them find their way and be more comfortable in an environment. sometimes it can be even used to keep them more safe. So a small percentage of the legally blind community have complete blindness. Most individuals do have some level of vision that is usable. Okay, I'm going to tell you there's a door on your right. Okay, now here again we're going to talk about contrast a little bit. If this door frame was merely painted white against this deeper gray, this would have probably stood right out to you much, much easier. And the same thing with the silver gray handle on gray. If that was of a good contrasting color, it would be easier for you to find that. With this particular simulation, you might find depth perception off a little bit too. So the contrast would help you there. So let's go through the doorway. Yeah, see how that's your depth perception.
Wow.
Right, right. At the end of this ramp, what I want you to do is stop when you get to the carpet. Okay, so what did you visually stop by seeing the carpet, or did you feel it with the cane?
I felt it with the cane.
Okay, so that's an example of using texture that can help make a little more friendly environment for somebody with legal blindness. We have a gray floor with a gray carpet, so if you look down this close, you might be able to see the difference, but from the top of the ramp when we came through the door, it's very much going to look the same.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
So again, contrast could be used. So let's go around the corner here and we'll go through the vision corridor. So here we have protruding objects, which by ADA code no longer is allowed, like fire extinguisher boxes and water fountains have to be recessed. If you swing your cane to the left as far as you can, Ben, you can see how that's going to go right under this box. It's not going to let you know that it's there, okay? Yeah. Okay, and if you stop for a minute, you could see how this is high up. The part that's 4 inches protruding is high enough at the 80-inch mark, so it's unlikely that you'll hit this. Mm-hmm. With this one, it protrudes out a little more, and you could catch yourself on the bottom very easily, okay? Another interesting thing about this corridor is if you look at the green side with the gray baseboard, it's very visually pleasing. It really just kind of helps you find your way in the corridor, in the hall, versus the gray baseboard on the gray wall. So again, it's just another example of contrast being used, which is more of a universal design thing, not an EDA. So let's go through this doorway to your left. There is a threshold there. It's contrasted a little. Turn to the left and stop right there. So can you see the windows, the bright light coming through those windows, the natural light?
Yes.
And how does that feel to your eyes?
Very bright.
Yes. So it almost impairing the vision you have
a little
further?
Yeah, it makes it very, yeah, exactly.
So we call that glare. And that's another thing that really should be taken into consideration with design because if you've got light or indirect lighting, the superficial environmental lighting, if it's off of a waxed floor, a very shiny countertop, shiny appliances, corridors in a hospital the floors tend to be very shiny and you tend to have white on white, no contrast. The lighting is going to bounce off of that and really bounce back to you, and it can take away how well you could use your usable vision. So in a sense, it can blind you further. So it's important to take all of that into consideration also.
So you're actually a service provider who works with individuals?
Yes, I'm a certified orientation and mobility specialist, so I instruct individuals on being oriented and getting around an environment safely, often using a long cane or maybe a dog guide.
Excellent.
So indoors and outdoors, public buildings, public transportation, crossing intersections. So
great. So it's excellent work. And how do most of your clients come to you?
It's in the state of Massachusetts. It is a requirement when somebody is found to meet the acuity level or loss of vision field level, a doctor is required to register them with the Massachusetts Commission for the Blind, and then they're contacted and offered services through the state.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.